Hello, everybody. It's Andy here, aka Montolio, and we're back for a Vintage League, and we're going to be running our Aggro Shops list again. I've been playing with this over the last week, and quite frankly, I've really enjoyed playing it. It has felt quite well positioned in the meta game. Uh, Vexing Bauble has really impressed me. Now, this is not likely news to any vintage goers out there, but I have personally had a lot of difficulty deciphering how good Vexing Bauble actually is. I have not had great success with it in some of the decks that I've played it. And in addition to that, I have had a lot of difficulty against Vexing Bauble. So I always think it's a little bit of an awkward tension spot with workshops in general because spheres will allow your opponents to potentially cast spells through your Vexing Bauble, but I have found that it is reasonably flexible in this list, and the benefit outweighs the risk significantly. Not a whole lot of true innovation in this particular list. I mean, that'll say it's a hybrid between aggro and Golo shops. Despite I don't actually have Golos in this particular build, but we've got Crucible of Worlds in here, and we've got Patchworks. I'm back on Revokers. I think Revoker is quite underplayed right now on the decline of Bowmaster. There's just unlimited targets for it, and particularly with the Lurrus decks being able to shut off Lore Unrevealed is no small game. I'm going with the Metamorphs and the Serpents as my flex package in this particular list. Metamorph is just obviously generically a good card, but against Mono White Initiative and Jewel in particular, this card is quite good, in addition to a lesser extent Oath of Druids. And the Serpents, once again, against Oath of Druids, it can stop and Atraxa dead in its tracks, and it's quite good against Frog, and who's kidding who. It can be a really heavy beatdown if you get it later in the game, and you build a huge stone coil. And this thing, because it has protection from multicolor, Oko can't really mess with it. Gets through Deathrite Shamans, Leobolds, and of course the aforementioned Psychic Frog. Sideboard, there's not a whole lot going on here that should be a surprise. I am opting for Leyline of the Void in this list. I just think it's the best card that you can possibly have against Dredge, and really Dredge is the only Bazaar deck of any relevance right now. Can't really cast it in the list outside of the Black Lotus that we have if you don't have this in your opener, but once again, the benefit outweighs the risk. And 3 Grafdigger's Cage, good against Oath of Druids as well, and Breach, despite Breach is on the down low right now. I've got a little bit of combo control with Mindbreak Traps, the other rods, and of course Dismember for Mono White Initiative or Bug. Okay, guys, that's my mini synopsis. Appreciate you hanging out. Like, comment, subscribe. We're going to see you round 1. Okay, right off the start, we won the die roll, and we will take that. I had to re-download Magic Online here, and so all my settings are a little bit off. So bear with me here. This one I don't think is really a keeper. I think we can do quite a bit better. This one looks fantastic. Let's see how this one works out. Pretty good start. I am going to play this just strictly because I have Snake in my deck. That's a nice card for them. But they've got a discard too. Okay. Saga's not an optimal draw here, but if my opponent's not on Wasteland, it's pretty good. I do realize the Saga can recur, but I guess in that sense it's not so bad. We'll just keep replaying it and eventually we'll run them out. Saga will take over the game eventually. Okay. That is pretty good with 7 cards in hand, isn't it? So pretty solid tempo play from them here. I think we set this Chalice at 1. Can't force because of Lodestone, and we can't attack in, sadly. That's going to keep Deathrite Shaman off the table or any reanimates. Unfortunately, my opponent's already done quite a bit of damage here, but second Frog. Oh, Time Walk. That's a good one. Still cannot block here. And if they just go all in on this, we're probably going to lose. But once again, we do have snakes in our deck, and if we can resolve a snake, we'll be able to block the Psychic Frog all day. Flying, yep. So they've tempoed us out pretty good with the double Wasteland. And of course, Time Walk is pretty savage. There's another frog. Oh, wow, okay. It's not a card you see that often, Echoing Truth. So we are playing Scam. So we pretty much need to draw a snake right here. Unfortunately, going to have to cycle my bauble. And we didn't find it, so we're going to lose game 1. I feel like our deck functioned pretty well there. Just our opponent did a little bit better than us. Do we want Leyline of the Void? Look at all my settings. Everything is just right off. I had a corrupted, I guess, installer. Just was playing Magic on the weekend and went to log into MTGO and it won't actually load up. I had an error and I just couldn't do anything about it. I uninstalled it, reinstalled it, restarted my computer, went into particular setting that I was advised to do, trying to delete a 2.0 package. Couldn't do that, didn't work. Ended up having to like completely reboot my computer to get this thing to go, like download Windows 11, all that stuff, and then it ended up working. So a little bit frustrated as I lost a fair bit, but okay. So they're playing Reanimator. Metamorph does seem pretty reasonable. I don't know how good Grafdigger's Cage is, but maybe it's worth playing. Maybe it's better than Leyline. Vexing Bauble still seems pretty reasonable. Maybe could cut null rods. This isn't necessarily the match for it. Probably not worried about Pithing Needle here. I think I'm just going to try and jam a really big stone coil here. Once again, it's not incredible because they could have just something simple as a fatal push, but the other option is that I just play out 2 Revokers. Try like troll a Khazad-dûm. And what else do we want to name here? Guess it's Black Lotus, right? I don't know if they're I guess they could be on Lorne Revealed too, but Black Lotus seems pretty generically good. So once again, a very powerful start from us. So that's very likely Ancestral Recall. Echoing Trues, I guess, kind of bounces my guys here, but we will get some pressure going. Oh, yeah, Grief was a good one. Workshop, not a great draw there. Oh, I wonder if I got them with the troll. This is Lorne Revealed or an Ancestral? Oh, Dismember, okay. Won't play out the second workshop. Trying to incentivize them to wasteland me. Thorn was a good draw there. Okay, nice one there. Now, I wonder if I want to shift on to Leyline here because we're on the draw. I could see keeping one cage. Chalice is still decent against the reanimate piece. For what it's worth, I bet you we did get them with that Troll of Cause of Doom. Vexing Bauble's not quite nearly as impressive on the draw. I still do like it, though. I could see easily keeping a couple of them. Patchwork, Revoker. I think I'm going to lean fully on the ley lines here. Leyline is pretty good against Frog, too, in that it can't fly if it's in play. Yeah, I mean, this is a really strong hand. Obviously, getting griefed here does neuter it somewhat, but... Well, it can do more than somewhat neuter it if they actually have the reanimate spell here, but... I guess it's a tough decision. Yeah, this is pretty reasonable, taking the Mox. All right. If they had a reanimate, I think they would have done it. Tough decision to put that on 0, because I think it's quite good at 1, but we're very likely to get wastelanded here, and we're going to be reliant off the top of the deck to get some mana here, but that's not the end-all be-all. If they're doing that, that means that they're not getting my patchwork. Just reanimate now. Yeah, nice. So I think what they do is they take my Metamorph here, and hopefully they don't have another land. Yep. Got lots of Sol lands here, even Moxes we can burn. Yeah, that was a good draw. The question is, they didn't play a land here. Do I want to trade here? No, I don't think we do want to trade. Next turn we can play with an Urza Saga. No attack, okay. Maybe I'm being a little bit silly not attacking in with the patchwork, but okay. At least they didn't get a creature into the yard. Okay, so they've ripped 2 lands back to back here. I expect I'm going to attack here now. They're still sitting on defense. This allows us to get through the grief here. And I mean, do I want to cast a Lodestone Golem? In all honesty, I don't know how good it is. It would keep them off a hard cast grief next turn. So what if they're sitting on Fatal Push, Echoing Truths? Like, I think there's probably some combination of those things that they're on right now, but I think that's okay. We're going to just get in here, and we'll make the decision afterwards. I don't think it impacts much, but almost assuredly my patchwork's dying here. And I think it's really hard to pass up the value of the Urza Saga for the Lodestone. Lodestone is counterable. Urza Saga is not. So they don't have the Troll here. I'm going to play the Lodestone. I changed my mind. I probably should have done that pre-combat for the extra damage if I was going to do that, but there's also merit to concealing the information as well. Okay, that is in. They did have that, okay. So them burning that there is not the worst because it means my Saga is going to be okay next turn. Even a reanimate here is a really dangerous thing for my opponent to do because they're quite low on life. Even if they grief me here, I'm not really, I will not be casting the Lodestone this turn. Okay, they are reanimating. See, that to me, I think, is a win because I wasn't casting this the remainder of the game with all likelihood. And they've put themselves down to 3 life here, and they have to chump block. I guess they could have, I don't know. some removal of some sort. They have to be able to get through the ward here, though. Maybe a dark ritual or something they have. I think I will get a soul ring. I think the graveyard now is expended on my opponent. The next turn, I can make my construct and play the thorn. Okay, so they do have a trust down. Yep. Just a reflection of their desperation here that they had to use it there. They couldn't wait for the full value. Ooh, that's really scary. All right, hopefully it's not an Atraxa. It is, too. Wow. Well, that is impressive. My opponent didn't get the value off it, but given that I'm at 2 life here, or excuse me, 14 life, it's going to be really... Oh, I just made a construct and my guy was dead. Oops. Made an artifact here. No way to gain life. I think we want the redraw of Bauble. I cannot attack. I will do an end of turn on the Vexing Bauble here. Really have to hope they can't draw something. Just a land would be good. It's a big old beater, this guy. Oh, interesting. Okay. I guess they're just getting a wasteland here. Makes sense. We're going to cycle this Bauble here. We're going to try and find a snake. I mean, we're not completely dead here, even if we don't. If I can find 2 artifacts that I can cast, like if they don't wasteland me here, that can force a block from my opponent and in trade. That's not a good one, really. Yeah, just not going to be enough here, guys, unfortunately. Put this back up to a 6, this to a 6. And they just kill my creature and on top and kill me. Okay, good games. Okay, let's go. Round 2. MTG Goldfish most recently shows Danny playing Mono White Initiative. Oh, it's not Initiative. This one's an easy mull. Look, like to keep it all, but no bueno, man. See if this gets a force out of their hand. I hope it doesn't, but that's my play. This deck has traditionally been very good against Lura-style builds. Non-basic, okay. Oh, they're playing the Doomsday version. All right, it's pretty good. Now, having this Wasteland here pretty strong, and a lot of good cards off the top that could do things for us. Now, they didn't counter my Patchwork, because obviously the Patchwork is not a very big threat. There is a reasonable chance that they have a Force of Will or Force of Negation in their hand. But if we draw something like a Sphere, a Thorn, could be very good backing us up from the Nettle Cyst, because I cast the Nettle Cyst first. Like, they've got to be careful, because this Nettle Cyst is an additional instant 3 damage as we currently stand, because I can equip it. That's still not enough to kill my opponent. That would be 3/6 that I'm hitting them for, unless they put a Street Wraith in their pile. So probably going to need another artifact to make this lethal. And of course, if it is a Sphere, that's just very good generically, even if I couldn't kill them. But if I draw, right, so cast Nettle Cyst, pumps up my guy, cast a Sphere, pumps up my guy, and also pumps up the Nettle Cyst by 2. Now, I can't equip the Nettle Cyst if I find a Sphere, but that's a mercy I'm willing to pay later. Okay, they did pass turn. Not even going to bother looking. I mean, let's cast it. Yeah, it's just not enough, but we tried. Let's see how good their pile is. Oh, they went down to 1. Oh, wow. All right. Didn't expect that. Well, I do like Null Rods in this matchup. We also want some Mindbreak traps. I don't think this is a Stone Coil matchup necessarily, but I guess if they have Frog, it's worth considering. We can counter Metamorph, because they have the ability to bounce my artifacts here. Pithing Needle's not at its best. I don't even think the Lurus list necessarily runs Street Race. 61. What do we want to cut here? You know, in truth, I kind of like all these cards. We'll cut a Nettle Cyst because it's more vulnerable to Force and Negation, and it's a little bit clunky in this type of matchup. Been having some trouble with mulligans tonight. I hate to put the spheres back, but I'm just not in a position really to cast spheres or play through spheres. Sequence this wrong. Do we want to play around days? Probably. Bit embarrassing that I sequenced that poorly there, but it is what it is. Because I'd be able to get in front of the patchwork automaton easier. Fairly disheartening that we lost our stone coil there, but I lost to this list last weekend in the Vintage Challenge. It was very close, but my opponent had very powerful starts. They turn one me in game 3. I think I got a game. Actually, maybe I didn't get a game off them. I can't remember. I actually think they did 2-0 me. This is pretty disappointing. I'm not going to bite on these. I mean, if I was going to be able to get the Ancestral or something, of course I would have Mindbreak Trap, but there's no reason not to play around days now. Be pretty sad if they dazed me. To be clear, I mean, we're losing this game quite badly here. Okay. They just have Fatal Push. What does that even mean? Is that a Vampiric Tutor? Yep. So that puts them down to 16. We're going to put them down to 13. I really haven't played a ton of workshops over the last number of years. And I have to admit, I really have enjoyed it over the last week playing it again and feeling a little bit of vigor for brewing, despite there's nothing super innovative here. I haven't felt that about workshops in quite some time. What did they get with their Vampiric? Are they just going to try and combo me? This could be a player yet. Not so good, but of note, this was a mulligan to 5 this game. Yep. Too bad if I have Pithing Needle in here, that could be pretty good. Cannot attack through the frog. Yep, they got a counter spell here. 4 still outpowers me here. But they do have to be careful because I have 2 Urza Saga constructs coming here. Well, depending whether they try and go off or not. They could do Lurrus. Let's see. All right, that Mindbreak Trap did come in pretty good. No, they still have Luris, which thankfully they can't pull right now. Can't block. Draws them 2 cards. Yeah, like they're now in a position where they've got to be careful because I am coming through here. I got a Sphere Resistance and a Bauble in play. Now I probably will cycle the Bauble. They've used Time Walk, right? Yeah. And Ancestral. Like the fact we're still playing this game of Magic is quite remarkable. Our deck has looked not bad. Yeah, we're starting to falter now. Like in fairness to my opponent, they've drawn pretty well here. But there is a chance that I can kill them here. A Nettle Cyst off the top could do it. They do have a land. Like that construct's really big. I can't not make it, right? Because it's just going to be bigger than what my opponent's doing. But what's better, the patchwork? I think I'm going to play the Sphere here, and the reason is that I don't want my opponent to pull Luris into hand and play it. There is merit to playing the patchwork there as well as a blocker, but my opponent's attacking in with their guys, like it's pretty risky. Okay, so they must have removal of some sort here. I'm going to block. They can make it fly, but or do I? So they have to discard 4 cards, putting them down to 1 card. And then they have to chump block with this guy. They can cast. They cannot cast another Psychic Frog right now. They would need another land, putting them down to 1. I'm not going to block. I'm going to make my opponent have it. This is a Treasure Cruise? Lotus, okay. So this is a Psychic Frog. Yeah, okay, so they did have it. Looking at Metamorphs on my board, there's no reason that Mox color doesn't matter. I'll get an off-color Mox to what they have because I have Evokers. So, would have liked to have waited on the Stone Coil, but I really want to disincentivize my opponent from attacking into me, and I really can only attack with... well, I guess they can kill my guy here. This thing's going to be a 6/6. No, they can't. They'd have to double block and they die. Yeah, so they would have had to block both of these here, and next turn, of course, we would have just taken over. The snake was exactly why we're running this card, is for this situation. All right, guys, really nice win on a mull 5 there. Okay, here we're round 3. Did not win the die roll this time. Null Rod could be very good, despite its anti-synergistic with what I've got going here, but being on the draw could change that significantly. Could draw a Workshop or something like that. Okay, it is Jewel. I might be forced into this play. It's going to be pretty bad for me. This right into a ring. This feels like a ring. Oh, we're playing Golo Shops. Okay. That's pretty good. Tolarian Academy, yeah. I mean, this must be some sort of hybrid here. So we have 6 mana. Ostensibly 5 because I'm going to wasteland that Tolarian Academy at all costs. So 5 mana. Yeah, it does work. So what I'm going to do, I mean, what if they have PO? I don't, oh God. I'm just going to gamble here. I mean, I could metamorph their Golos here instead of playing Crucible. Maybe that's just better. Set up for next turn. Pretty good turn. Yep. So what's really awkward about this is I really want that Crucible to get into play so I can attack their mana base. But the ring is really going to get out of control if I do that, right? I think I just have to do it. I acknowledge they have metamorphs, etc., but we just kind of got to get going with stuff here. And next turn, I'm comfortable playing the Null Rod. I don't know why they didn't block there. It's a lot of damage between that ring, the Ancient Tomb, and the Mana Vault. And there's a very high probability that I'm going to be able to resolve my Null Rod because of Vexing Bauble. Yep. Okay, they do have an island in there. And just tinker. Oh, Time Walk. Okay. That's pretty bad for me. I mean, I didn't need to be in this position. If I had played the Null Rod, things might have been okay. But of course, my board wouldn't be advanced because I'd be stuck under my own mana. But let's see what happens here, guys. Hopefully they can't PO me. Looks like they can. Another ring. No, it's worse, a jewel. Okay. So 6 cards. I've got a lot of mana. Okay, I guess they bricked. We played that greedily and obviously incorrectly. I don't think I want Mind Break Traps on the draw. I'll bring a couple of dismembers. Let's try this. Oh dear, forgot a rod. Can't have that. My best card. All right. I mean, look. If my Null Rod gets countered, it's pretty bad for me. If it doesn't, well, maybe we're all right. I'm going to play this out because of Vexing Bauble on the opposition side. It will help fuel my academy, despite it's a bit of a nombo with this. I think the correct line here is to play Mox Pearl into Urza Saga, and we just gamble a little bit. Like if they counter my Null Rod, it means that my academy's off for making Urza Saga tokens, and I will have squandered my best play outside of the Null Rod, of course. What I'm trying to say is this 1, this is 2, this will create 2 mana next turn, allowing me to play Urza Saga. Maybe I play it safe and I don't need to do that. Maybe I play a Workshop into Strip Mine next turn. That might actually be the better line. The fact they're playing Golos makes me less convinced that they have counter magic. That's not typical out of a Jewel list, but certainly not insane. I mean, Golos is just a good value card. Opponent is down to 5 cards here. Yeah. Time Walk. Yep. Okay. Hopefully they don't have a Tinkerer here. That would be pretty bad. One ring. Okay. Pretty big non-bow, but a lot of different things we could have done there. I'm going to get going on things here. As tempted as I am to strip mine that. Hopefully they don't find a land here. Uh-oh. One, two. Do I just let them have the saga? I don't think it matters. Yeah, I think the Workshop is more egregious here. Okay, nice win against Jewel there. Okay, guys, here we are in round 4 on the die roll. I think this is keep. Against my better judgment, I'm going to lead out with the patchwork. Because I feel like we've got to get pressure going regardless of what happens with this hand being as defensive as it is. Like next turn we can play a Sphere Resistance and Wasteland in the least. Okay, no rod could be an option too. What, did they just win? Is this Doomsday? Oh, Necro. Yeah, that's a good one. Gotta be careful with Necro, folks. I really need to find a land off the top, like a Workshop, Academy, Ancient Tomb. These would all be really good. I would settle for any land, but that's really what I'm looking for. Probably dead here. Had I played a Sphere, I would have slowed this down, but probably in worse shape because I didn't have any pressure. So they've gone down to 12. Very likely dead here, but let's see. The problem I'm faced with here is counter magic. That's the first problem. The second problem is losing from there. Workshop? Okay, I mean, that's not bad. Why don't I play a Null Rod into a Sphere? Or the other option is I could gamble and play the Sphere first, watch it get countered, and then I can play the Null Rod or the Sphere if I so choose. And if the Sphere resolves, then I can Wasteland. I think I like that. Do I cast Null Rod here? Is Null Rod better? Probably. They can't draw off the top. If they let me untap, we do win because they will not be able to Doomsday. And any other artifact that I can cast will just instantly kill them. So they Dark Rituals, so we'll see if they can do it here. Like, I'm not sure how they win through the Null Rod here, but that's a pretty good start for them. Oh, wow. That was great. Yep, so they probably can win here now. Well, the fact they're doing that, I don't know what that means. Okay, that was a little bit nerve-wracking for sure. Okay. They have been playing Psychic Frogs recently. I think I keep my Stone Coils in for that reason. Like you saw that Lurrus Doomsday deck earlier. It's playing Psychic Frogs. This is not a Lurrus version, but I could see a world where they transition into it. Oops, 61. Yeah, can't complain here. Pretty powerful start. Can they just win turn one? I mean, it's not easy to win from this spot. It would require them to have a Street Wraith into an Ancestral, which is possible. Okay, they don't. 3 cards in hand. So what does that mean for me? One days. Question is do I play around days? So I think playing Snake here for a 3/3 is the best way to do it versus a Nettle Cyst because there's a higher probability that they're going to have a negation, meaning they can counter my Nettle Cyst. But if they do, does it matter? Because I'm definitely going Mox Sphere. Like, I have to play like they have nothing, and if they don't, this is going to be very good. Well, very good might be an overstatement. So they do have the Force of Will, so we are dead. I mean, we'll see how well they set their stack. Okay. Okay. So, I mean, that was a massacre. They turn one us there. Well, I guess technically turn two, but we got one turn to play. All right. I like the way we're set up here, guys. This hand, I mean, I guess it's got Mindbreak Trap. All right. I'm going to gamble. Do I play a 2/2 snake? I don't think so. Can't stop it. Okay. We need some help here. Revoker, Sphere. Yeah, that's pretty good. Interesting. They just let it go. I'm going to play around days here. Okay, that's good news for me, if that's what they're doing. I mean, if they can go off here, I'm probably in bad shape. If they can get through my mind break trap, which is pretty reasonable given they have uh, 8 cards in hand, but like it has to pretty much be force of will. I mean, they shouldn't have Fluster in their deck. Okay, so they must have removal here. I mean, I guess they don't. I mean, this is going to pump them up in the least, and if I find any artifact, it actually kills them. I think they have Fatal Push, so I'm going to put it over on my patchwork. It's not the worst. I mean, I'm still probably in some pretty bad shape here. But still playing around days. And very lethal next turn. So let's see if we can hold off here for another turn. I mean, they're going to go for it here. There's no way they can bat me off for another turn. It's just a matter of they can actually go off or not. Once again, it's got to be force of will. Okay, that's good news. They shuffled. Yeah. There's Doomsday. It's not like, I mean, I can't imagine they're overly suspicious for the mind break trap. 4 cards in hand. Down to 2. Preordain, yeah. Do I counter this one? Did they get Ancestral or Gush? There's Gush there, so it's Ancestral. Here goes, guys. They did have the Force of Will, so it looks like we lose. It was close, though. 1 life. All right, there you have it, guys. We did lose to Doomsday. Well done by the opponent. I did think we were going to get there, but last turn they had the bounce spell, which was just enough. Not when the die roll here. And this hand just is not good enough. My goodness, this is just so disappointing. I feel like this league has been good. Like, we've just really lost by a hair's breadth the 2 matches that we've lost. And, you know, our record is very middling at 2-2 right now. But I feel like it could have been pretty good. Damn. That completely negates my sphere play. So this is Jewel into a ring. No. I did not notice the Luris there. This is not. Luris. A Revoker would be good, or Null Rod. Play the Strip Mine in case we draw a Workshop next turn and we want to hit their island. This could get a Force, which would be unfortunate, but I will hit Manifold Key if I'm given the option. I'm just worried about a PO here if we don't turn the key off. God forbid Volt Key. Very nice. Old Border Delta. Going to play around Spell Pierce here. Lauren revealed. No. Okay. Four cards in hand, one of which is Luris. Okay. Really wanted to fade Time Walk there, thankfully. Bit flooded here. We're going to need an artifact of some sort here to have some impact in this game. Is this a Tinker? Or it's Lurrus, of course. Cycle that right away. I am going to attack their mana base here. Look, if they actually have Saga, I'll feel a little bit bad about it, but I figure if they had it, they would have played it out already. Not to intone they couldn't top deck one here, but putting them under a sphere and leaving them with 2 mana, plus 1 mana is pretty good. We have lots of good top decks. Kind of nice with a Crucible of Worlds here or a Null Rod B. Yep. Okay, now I got their mana tied up pretty well here. I will block here if they attack with Lurrus. They obviously drew something and they want the mana, and it's worth trading Lurrus off, I guess. Million good hits here. We can find a mana producer to feed Urza's Saga next turn. A million artifacts that are good. Spheres, Thorns, Trinispheres, Nettle Cysts. Patchwork wouldn't be very good, but I'd take it. Opponent down to 6 and facing down lethal here this turn if they don't find something. I'm wondering if they're playing Breach. You don't see red and Lurrus very often these days. I mean, they obviously have something. It must be Repeal. Let's see what they're doing here. Was a Repeal. case they're able to repeal my sphere here, I think I want to keep the Vexing Bauble. If this is something like Breach. Probably a dress down here. It's going to keep my Bauble still. Oh, I guess I can cycle this one now. I'd be pretty surprised if they had a second repeal on their deck, but I mean, repeal's a good, just generic card. Let's try this out. Yep. They don't go off on me here. My hand is extremely disruptive. Okay. Play around Spell Pierce as best I can. Nice that I have two. We have a different Mox than what they do. Mox Pearl. Wow, okay. Do they have removal here? And that was a good start for them and a pretty good start for me as well. Just nothing, huh? Okay. What's interesting is they didn't pull Lurrus to hand. Play around Spell Pierce. Strip Mine is in. I'm just going to attack in. Not really playing around anything here. Do I want to get the Nettlecyst in this turn? I don't think so. I think it's probably better to just hold up Strip Mine in case they play a Saga and Time Walk. And also, more importantly, to play around Spell Pierce. There's no reason for us to play into it, given what our circumstances are here. PO. Yep. Pretty good. 2 mana available to them right here. Not bad. No, they let it in, eh? I think I'm not as worried about the time walk as a one of. If they had it, I think they would have done it already. Let's just get in and start attacking here. Okay. Okay. I mean, Bobble makes it so that their PO is far less effectual when it comes back down. Okay, no Vampiric there. I held my breath for a second. Okay, there's the Saga. They're just digging. Tinker. By force. Yep. Pretty good. I did not expect that, I tell you that much. Creature? It's a damn good one. Bobble's in play too. Okay. Okay. I would think this should wrap it up here, but that was a pretty big blowout with the by force there. You don't see that card very often anymore, but still very effective. It is Breach. Okay, well, I feel somewhat relieved by that. I mean, I guess like they can't bring any fast mana in because of Bobble. Okay. So that was a solid showing from our deck despite a middling record of 3-2. As I mentioned earlier, we barely lost that match to Doomsday, and I can't even remember what we lost to. It was a Rescaminator in round one, and they were extremely close matches, and they could have went either way, and the ones that we did win I felt were quite dominant. So I still stand by this deck. I think it's very good right now, and I mean, obviously open to any suggestions people may have how to make this deck better. I think that what we have in here makes sense, but certainly things can be moved around fairly easily in these Shops decks. There's just so many tools to choose from today. But Vexing Bauble still continues to impress me. And I think Null Rod is just a really good card right now in Vintage. So, yeah, guys, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. And like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.